Oh, fuck me.
Right. Well.
King of the world!
Go again, straight away.
When I first read Bridget Jones's Diary, the book, I just laughed like an idiot and thought, this is very brave to put this down in a book. Because it was a bit of a taboo subject, you know, a lot of 30-something women secretly terrified as to why they hadn't found the right man, but nobody daring to say, look, I think I'm a scary, tragic spinster. What shall I do about it?
But I wasn't really trying to do anything with the character of Bridget Jones. I wasn't trying to make her a symbol or anything. I was just trying to make myself laugh, really. And I think that very honesty was what made other women respond to it.
What's so appealing about this book and this film, frankly, is the sense of humor that Bridget sort of applies to her missteps. Back to the studio!
So much of the very funny stuff and the stuff that makes it so different is in this woman's head. She's got an irreverence that goes on all the time.
Western Rail wishes to inform all passengers that they might have to squish up a bit in their seats owing to the size of Bridget Jones's thighs.
She's just the perfect, imperfect heroine. And I think it was just, time was right to sort of tell a dizzy girl story.
I'd read the book and loved it, and read ages ago somewhere in a newspaper, you know, that, oh, they're going to make a movie of that book that I loved. That's great. And it'll be an English film company, and it'll be shot in England, and here's a list of English actresses who will potentially play the role, and I went on about my day.
Yes, it sounded like a mad plan, but it turns out to be brilliantly mad.
Initially, I was very touched by the fact that the entire British nation seemed to go up in arms like headless chickens. And I thought, well, that shows that they're very fond of Bridget, that they were just so indignant that it wasn't being played by an English woman. I think it's appropriate that it's an international figure. And anyway, Scarlett O'Hara was played by an English woman, so I think the Americans are getting their revenge now.
So, from where? From all that yelling, don't you dare, and I'm coming on board.
It was quite a leap of faith on the part of everybody involved in this project, and was really grateful for the opportunity, because I didn't want to be the weak link, and also because I knew that this book meant a lot to people, and it meant a lot to me.
The fact that Renée was a Texan was an immediate anxiety, of course, but I met her and loved her and thought she had lots of the qualities that Bridget has, an outer sort of vulnerability and an inner irreverence, and I thought that's key for this character. And then I thought, oh, bugger, she's a Texan. What are we going to do about that then?
I moved to England in February, and I hung out and looked around and became familiar with the language and her cultural and social references that were not familiar to me.
Yeah, I do know that she immersed herself working in a publishing house incognito.
I worked with the dialect coach, of course, every day to get that part of it down and change my lifestyle a little bit so that physically, you know, I could represent it more legitimately that way.
What happened to your dialogue?
I'm waiting for the cue.
She was doing her English accent off the set as well as on, and I didn't know her as a Texan until the rap party, when she turned up with this weird voice.
Folks, everybody, but just get the volume right down. If you have to feel the need to say something, then say it quietly.
What are you doing here?
I've been asking myself the same question.
The plot of Bridget Jones was actually stolen from Pride and Prejudice. I thought that Jane Austen's plots were very good and had been market researched over a number of centuries, so I would simply steal it, because I thought she wouldn't mind, and anyway, she's dead. So Mark Darcy is the classic Mr. Darcy figure, who appears to be dull and snooty and uninteresting, but actually is a really good man. And Daniel is Wickham, terribly charming, terribly sexy, but not much going on underneath.
The character of Mr. Darcy in the book was written around Colin Firth, because at the time Helen wrote the book and was writing the column, Pride and Prejudice had sort of stopped the nation on television. He played Mr. Darcy and we all fancied him. And so she based the character of Mr. Darcy on Colin Firth playing Mr. Darcy.
It appealed to me, the very irony of that fact, that work I had done in the past was being revisited upon me in this new form. Mother, I do not need a blind date, particularly not with some verbally incontinent spinster who smokes like a chimney, drinks like a fish, and dresses like her mother.
So when it came to casting the film, we kind of thought, well, it can't be anybody else, really. And Colin can carry that off. You know, he's strong and aloof and very sexy.
Yes, I think it's a good part, and I did, of course, worry that Colin would kind of win the film because his character wins her. But I comforted myself with the fact that I thought my character had more juicy lines. I counted them.
There was a young woman from Ealing who had a peculiar feeling. She lay on her back and opened her crack and pissed all over the ceiling.
When I talked to Hugh about the character, he said, hilariously, I just don't recognise this character. You know, who is he? And I said, oh, come on, you know this character.
I've definitely done too many nice guys in the last few years.
When Hugh Grant pops up, I expect him to be decent, you know, bumbling.
I know that was starting to make me puke, so this is a blessed relief and a catharsis.
Oh, just sod off.
I think he's hysterical, and he's nice, and so intelligent, and his humor reflects that.
What I felt I got from Hugh was that he was the expert on this particular kind of comedy. I felt I was working with a connoisseur.
Hey, Dawes, come on in!
We were a couple of girls on this film. Normally, on film sets, classically, you wait for the actress to come out of the trailer because she's doing her makeup and wants to get her wardrobe absolutely perfect. But he and I developed this kind of rivalry about who wanted to be the thinnest and have the nicer clothes. And so it was Renée sitting around eating pizza and swilling beer, waiting for us to come out of our trailers while we primped ourselves and finished our salads.
I think the truth is there has to be a bit of you in a character, a major character, for you to be able to create her.
I've known Helen for some years, and I remember I once told her a story which involved me calling someone a dirty bitch. And then when I read the novel, there is Daniel Cleaver doing exactly the same. Don't you, dirty bitch? And so there's even a tiny bit of me in that part.
Oi! Oi!
We know that we can trust her because we know we've all been in those sort of similar situations of fouling up. But inside we think, I'm not an idiot, but here I am fouling up very badly.
Bridget Jones is funny, she's warm, she's kind, she's honest, but those sort of qualities are not often celebrated in the media, and they tend to get lost alongside the value of having a bottom like 2 billiard balls.
She's an everywoman. It's a beautiful character.